the wife of Vlad Tepes. Thank you for tuning into AmysCrypt. Today I am taking you on a journey to search for the ghost of Count Dracula. Those of you who have watched AmysCrypt for a while know that last year I ventured to Romania to investigate many of its most haunted locations, and that is a big part of what we do here on AmysCrypt. We visit the most haunted places all around the world, so if that interests you, maybe consider subscribing. Now, I managed to visit a number of places that are supposedly haunted by the real-life Count Dracula. And now, I know that Dracula is a fictional character, but it is said that Bram Stoker actually based this character Dracula on a real-life Romanian warlord, best known as Vlad Tepes or Vlad the Impaler. So before I get into taking you to some of the most haunted dungeons, castles, forests and fortresses around Romania, I wanted to tell you a little bit of info about Vlad Tepes and what makes this guy so notorious. Vlad was actually born in the Transylvanian town of Sighișoara, and he was born in a really cute, modest little house, which is still standing today, and I actually got to visit. He was the second legitimate son of Vlad II Dracul, who was a member of the Order of the Dragon, which is actually what Dracul translates to, dragon. And this order actually worked to keep the spread of the Ottoman Empire out of Europe. Years later, Vlad's father went on to become a ruler of Wallachia, and after he died, Vlad actually went on to become a prince and ruler of Wallachia himself 3 separate times during his life. Now, he came in and out of power because there was a lot of battles being fought, and Vlad was also imprisoned a couple of times during his life. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later because there's a couple of legends associated with that too. During his rule, Vlad managed to become infamous and gain notoriety for his cruel but very effective war tactics. A lot of these actually involved impalement, which is why Vlad is known as Tepes, which translates to the Impaler. And I'll tell you, this was actually a very slow, torturous, painful way for people to go, to be impaled on wooden spikes. There is actually one very famed instance of impalement that Vlad used that literally scared an army out of battle with him. So he actually had 20,000 corpses on display, impaled on wooden spikes across an area that spanned 7 acres. And when this army came through to engage with battle with him, they seen this and it scared them and they fled. And I think that if I saw that too, I'd also probably flee. Now, impalement was actually Vlad's preferred torture and execution method, and there's even some numbers that suggest the death toll that he gained through impalement sits around 100,000 people. There are even some people who claim that he ate the flesh and drank the blood of his enemies. And these legends have continued and spread today, even into Western societies, and that is probably largely due to the links that he has with Dracula. Though it is important to remember that Vlad is actually celebrated in Romania and seen as a historical hero who worked to protect his country during that time. And it is very interesting to visit Romania and see how he is portrayed over there versus the monster that we know him as typically. Vlad was eventually killed in battle just outside of Bucharest in either 1476 or 1477. Some writings suggest that his body was cut up into little pieces, while others say that his head was just taken off and sent to his enemies. Now, I did get the chance to visit his supposed grave, which is at the Snagov Monastery. This is not supposed to be one of the places that he haunts though the place he was supposedly murdered is. While the exact place that Vlad was murdered isn't really known, people do believe that it was in the Boldu forest, which is just outside of Bucharest. And interestingly, a lot of people believe that he was actually beheaded right alongside an already very strange and mystical body of water known as the Witch's Pond. This place is actually a very notorious gathering for many witches, and it is thought to contain some kind of magical properties, and even that it might have cursed water. This doesn't really have anything to do with Vlad, but it's interesting nonetheless. Many people have claimed to sight the apparition of a man, sometimes with, sometimes without a head, wandering around the area of the forest right in the vicinity of that witch's pond. Now, when I did visit the witch's pond, I conducted a spirit box session and attempted to reach out to any spirits that might be there. I did gain some interesting results, so let's take a look at that. Hi, my name is Amy. Are there any spirits around that can communicate with me? Are there any witches here? Can you tell me your name? Vlad, are you here? Vlad Dracul. Did you die here? So the most interesting response that I received here was a male voice that appeared to be saying hello to me. Now, do I believe that that was Dracula? Well, most likely not, but it did sound kind of creepy. I also doubt that if I was talking to Vlad, he would reach back out to me in English or even understand any of my questions posed to him in English, though it is interesting to note that there are some people out there that believe that spirits can talk to you in whatever language you're reaching out to them. So if you have any opinions on that, leave me a comment below. I'd love to know your thoughts. Now, for me personally, the most interesting thing that I witnessed at the witch's pond was something that I saw with my own eyes, and this was not captured on camera at all. So I left it out of my original witch's pond video, so if you have seen that, you guys would have missed this. And the reason that I kept it out was because I didn't get any footage of it. I witnessed it with my own eyes, so I had no way to validate it to you guys, my audience, what I actually saw. But basically what I saw was a large, black, gaseous, almost mist-like figure come out of the forest towards me. It was shaped like a man, and as it approached me, it kind of just dissolved. Now, a couple of things to note here. It was dark and scary out there. We were also filming, so I had a torchlight shining bright in my vision, and we also didn't capture it on film. We did capture my response to seeing this though, and that is it. I would love for you guys to let me know in the comments if seeing this footage of me reacting to this thing that I saw would be of interest to you. I actually have quite a few stories where I witnessed something but didn't capture it on film, so I've excluded that from my video. But I'm interested to know if you guys want to hear my stories related to all this, so please leave me a comment if that's something that sounds cool to you. But now let's get back on track. I want to take you guys to one of my favorite castles in the world that is known as Corvin Castle. Now, this place is a true medieval fairy tale looking castle. It is so beautiful, but it has a very dark history of torture and executions. Vlad himself was actually imprisoned here for around 7 years. And this place is notorious because it is said that he only survived by drinking the blood of rats, and it actually drove him to insanity, which is why he committed all of the atrocities in his life. Now, those stories are lightly sensationalized, but they do add into the real feel of Corvin Castle. Since Vlad's death, some say that he has returned to Corvin Castle and once again become trapped in the dungeon which lies underneath the Hall of Knights. But other people say that this haunting could just be some residual energy that is trapped there from when he was kept prisoner there for so long. Now, I did get the chance to explore the whole castle, but unfortunately the underground cell where Vlad was actually imprisoned was closed off. What I did get to do though was reach out to his spirit, literally standing right on top of the cell that he would have been kept. So let's roll some footage and go check that out. Salut im Amy. fos prisonnier. Es acest Vlad Tepes. Est acest Vlad Tepes. De ce este aici. Cum more. Cum te numești? So we didn't really appear to get too much coherent communication coming through, but if you guys did hear any responses or words or anything that sounded a bit interesting, please let me know about it in the comments below. Either way, I was stoked to visit that castle. It is absolutely magnificent, and if I was Dracula's ghost, I'd probably go back to the castle too, though I wouldn't be hanging out in the dungeon, I guess. Now, there are a couple of other places that are linked to Dracula, though these ones don't really fit the mold of being haunted by Dracula's ghost. Nevertheless, I'm going to take you there to check them out. The first of these places is Bran Castle. Now, interestingly, this place is marketed to tourists as the real Dracula's castle, probably because it is the most glorious looking castle in the whole of Transylvania, but it actually has no real ties to Vlad Tepes. Keep watching though, because I am going to be taking you to Vlad's real castle in just a second. The only real links that Vlad has to Bran Castle is that he passed through the mountain range that Bran Castle lies within, and it is possible that he stopped and stayed at Bran Castle for a night, maybe two, though that isn't really documented, it's all just speculation. And although this castle is believed to be haunted by many ghosts, the ghost of Dracula is not one of those ghosts. Another place with alleged ties to Vlad the Impaler is over in Budapest, Hungary. This one is a tunnel system known as the Buda Labyrinth, and it spans underneath the castle there and was used as both a torture area and a prison for a long time. Now, they say that Vlad was also held here as prisoner for a number of years, though many people don't really believe this claim and think that it's more of a ploy to get more tourists in to visit this attraction. Either way, there are rumours that Vlad Tepes' ghost haunts that tunnel. Now on to our last location, which for me is the place that seems the most plausible for Vlad to haunt, and that is the real Dracula's castle, or Vlad's actual castle known as Poenari Fortress. Now, some of you may have watched and remembered that one of my Halloween specials last year involved me sleeping at the foot of this castle. And that is actually one of my favorite videos and fondest memories of filming ever for AmysCrypt. So I'm going to link that video below for you, but I'm also going to link my full location videos on all of the places that I've spoken about today below too. So if you want to learn a bit more and check out these places a little bit more in depth, they're all linked below. This castle and its surroundings are thought to be extremely haunted. The legend goes that Vlad noticed this castle and that it had a very strategic position, so he claimed it. He then went on to enslave a bunch of his enemies and used them to rebuild the castle, though many of them died in the process because it was such hard work. Once this project was completed, then Vlad supposedly executed the remainder of the workers, even by impalement, though this story isn't really substantiated or backed up. Eventually, this fortress came under attack and was seized from Vlad, though he famously managed to escape by turning the horseshoes on his horse's feet backwards. This outsmarted his enemies and he wasn't tracked. Many people believe that Vlad continues to haunt this fortress along with his wife and many of those who perished whilst trying to rebuild the fortress. I'm about to roll you guys a clip of when I was there and I reached out to try and communicate with any spirits that might be in the area. Now I've cut this one down just to show you guys 2 responses that were most interesting to me and responses that I would love your opinions on. Please feel free to leave me a comment and let me know what you think of those. I always read my comments and I always do my best to respond to them all as well. So please take a look and let me know what you think.
Lorna. Hello. Humai Mori. How did you die? Bestesodila Vlad Tepes. Are you the wife of Vlad Tepes?
I hope that you enjoyed revisiting Romania with me. This is actually a very special place in my heart. It is my favorite country to have explored to date, and I really want to make it back there and see more of Romania. I would love to know what your favorite place in this video was though. I'd also love to know your opinions on Dracula's ghost. Is it real? Does it even exist? Or is it just the product of some very cool folklore? Leave me a comment. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you want to do a little bit more reading on any of the locations in this video, head to AmysCrypt.com. You guys can also follow me at AmysCrypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Take care, Crypt Keepers. I will see you in the next one.